Guys, what else is new? Broken homes, broken cars, and broken hearts, all done by Picasso. Stay tuned for Genius Chapter 8.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You weren't on the last season, but I noticed they changed the intro slightly different to give the persona of Picasso, and there's a part in the song where it's like it's like a little mixing and dance. I'm just like every time I hear it, I'm like it's fun. Guys, welcome back. This is Genius Chapter 8. I am your host, Silverman. My lovely host, Mina. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah, follow me, keep up with my adventures on Instagram, Mina Makes Magic, and I liked this episode.
You did. Let's get into it. I want to hear your reactions, your thoughts.
I was just like, finally we meet Olga. I mean...
Oh yeah, they've been talking about her for the longest time, and I was like, wait, there's another,
His first wife.
His first wife, yeah.
Yeah, he actually, put a ring on it.
Yeah, he actually put a little ring on it. Guys, I forgot to tell you, we have news coming up at the end of this episode, so stay tuned and check out what we have to say. Go ahead. Olga, let's get into it.
Yeah, I don't know, I just, sometimes I get annoyed with young Picasso. I'm like, how many times can you possibly fall in love? Like, do people really fall in love that quickly, that many times? Because it just feels like infatuation mixed with lust and having a muse that inspires you.
I often question a lot of my friends that are similar to this, but I think it's like a blissful peace almost. It's like, good for you. If you could fall in love that much and have it be fresh and inspired like that, kind of wish I could do that.
I think it's similar to being an adrenaline junkie, because the beginning stages of love, that's when
my God, yeah.
your dopamine levels go up and you're hooked, you're fixated on that one person, and then when that rush goes away, a lot of men think, oh, I'm no longer in love anymore. They go on to the next one.
Yeah.
When in reality, no, you're still, it has nothing to do with not being in love anymore. It's that feeling, that excitement is bound to settle down. You're not going to be that level of excited on day 1 as you are on day 50.
Yeah, no, I agree. Picasso wastes no time, it seems, after his late girlfriend, I guess they never got married, had passed. Mm-hmm. And he's met by the young soldier that we had met in the last episode. Did you recognize him, by the way? Wasn't sure if he was part of his friend group or if it was just a random soldier that sought him out after the war again.
I thought he was random because there's no way I would remember the one person who's like, can you paint me? And Picasso goes, no, do you not know what I'm dealing with right now?
Yeah, but you know what? He came back dressed as a harlequin. Harlequin?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Harlequin, yeah.
Asking him for, hey, paint my picture. And it brings us into a new medium of what Picasso wants to do to break the rules of art. How did you feel about what his new adventure was?
To create movements
Yeah.
within art, yeah.
To make a moving painting.
Yeah,
and
I admire how he's always after the next thing. Not when it comes to women, but when it comes to art, he's always after okay,
what will break the mold?
Let me pioneer this new form. Let me be open to this new way of thinking and painting, and let me find something that will change the way people view art. Yeah. And I think it's just so commendable and cool that he just is willing to break that mold all the time and always take things to the next level and always, go through these uncharted waters. And
he puts himself in this misery too, almost. There's the first act, or the first time we see the play, everyone's laughing. It's a bunch of soldiers, that he put on for it. And it's actually coined as surrealism. So he's he's done so many movements now. Cubism, surrealism, collaging. Mm-hmm. There's one more I think he did. I didn't realize Picasso was the pioneer of all these amazing mediums. But we're met with all these soldiers laughing at his play, not understanding it. And it's almost like you see this scene of young Picasso, and he's looking down, and almost like he's grinning and bearing on his teeth, like he's like, I can't stand this. Like how can they do this to my art? But at the same time, it's like you asked for that.
Yeah.
You're the person that always says, what was it? I wrote it down. They never understand my art, and they're meant not to, and they appreciate it later. Yeah. Which is interesting, and it's just you found your rhythm. So I was a little offset, but how he was, it almost looked like he was about to crack and give up. He's like, God doesn't want me to do this anymore, kind of thing. I'm gonna stop.
I don't know, when I watched the play, it kind of reminded me of like when Yoko Ono does her weird like avant-garde presentations where she starts going and like just doing weird things that people don't anticipate.
Okay.
I kind of see it as like the equivalent of when Shia LaBeouf has people like throw things at him while he's inside a glass case. Like, you know, you're doing something to create shock value, to emote something, invoke an emotion within someone through art.
Yes. But I think people, when they do it today, it's just like a shock value, as opposed to like Picasso was doing something for a reason. Because you saw a lot of his paintings in this play, which was very interesting. You got to see some of the Harlequins, I think. You got to see some of the Matador with the horse. It was a horse, but whatever is involved with that. I think there was some of the cubism of the homes that like he painted. It was very pretty. I would have loved to be sitting in that audience back in, I think it was 1917 that he put this play together. 1917.
Yeah.
Pioneer of his time.
When I saw the display, like the objects reminded me of objects in Dali's work. That surrealist, like the boxy figures that were like heads of animals and objects. It just reminded me of a Dali painting for some reason.
I like that. It's pretty cool. Through the play, we get to meet the only Madame Picasso, Olga.
Yeah.
A Russian ballet.
Ballerina.
Ballerina, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know my arts too well. A Russian ballerina who is very interesting as a woman, very stern and strict.
Yeah, she's so different from the other women that Picasso has been with that I was like, this is such a, a clear departure from previous women he's been attracted to. I wonder what it is about her that's different. Like, she's definitely more composed. She seems
didn't give
to
it
be
up until marriage. Yeah, that's what it was. He's like, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's interesting. He gave a line. He said something when they got married, and they're in the bedroom, and she's kind of upset, almost regretting it. Like Max said, "You've been with all these women in Paris. How many have it been?" And he didn't answer and said, like, "I chose you. I gave you my name. You'll always be Madame Picasso," or something. And that's like one thing that there's a lot of jump cuts in this episode between old and past, and that rings true. Where like you see him sitting later at lunch with her. I guess they have a lunch once a week for an hour, and he's very like, you will always be that number one love kind of deal, which is kind of heartwarming, but at the same time, it's just like, what are you doing running around with all these other women?
It's definitely like leading her on to a certain extent.
So crazy she got.
Yeah, I want to know what went wrong, because I feel like you kind of see signs of him, like young Picasso being like, okay, I have this new life and this new wife. Is this really making me happy, or what about like Max and Apollinaire?
Yeah, I was just checking the boxes off of like what I want to do next in life and what I've been told I should be doing. Honestly, I think we're already seeing signs of what's going wrong. There are two different types of people that, they should have had a fun night, and that would have been that. She is very regretful, I guess, and bitter towards him because he kind of took her away from the play. I don't know. We didn't see what happened, but she hurt her ankle, which continued on throughout life. And then one of the last shots was her pregnant.
Yeah.
And the gentleman that wanted to get painted was saying like, oh yeah, we have a brand new, person who's heading the play, and she was very bitter about it. Did not want to hear that someone else was taking her place because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
With Picasso's child.
That's got to be tough, because that's like her first love is, ballet.
Ballet, yeah. And she chose life, normal life over it. She let her dreams go, which kind of sucks. I didn't like to see that.
Sounds so depressing when you say it like that.
It's the truth. Look what happened. And there's a lot that happened in this whole time period. So we have the play, we have that. Let's talk a little bit about Max and Apollinaire. You were getting into that. We get a glimpse of how they're living their lives. The true starving artist.
The squalor of being
40 years old, Max. I don't know how old Apollinaire is. I don't think they gave an age so much, but Max is living in these slums like they had when they were in their 20s. It's sad. And you can see why he's a drunk. You can see why he acts the way he does.
Sometimes it feels like he's genuinely trying to sabotage Picasso's relationships, and it doesn't feel like it comes from a place of jealousy.
Really?
It doesn't feel like it comes from a place of jealousy of his accomplishments. It seems like it comes from a place of jealousy, like, I like you, and
I
like
think
you're
that's exactly
like
what it
you're
is.
my best friend, and I also might have romantic feelings for you as well.
I think he became resolved with not ever things between the two of them will never happen. And he's like, well, if that's not going to happen, at least you'll always be my best friend. And he's shown time like twice now, almost 3 times that, you know, I will choose women over you as well. He chose Fernand's and then tossed her to the side and went with
that one girl. I can't remember her name either.
Jesus, it was very brief.
Yeah.
Went with her.
Yeah.
And chose her over Max, and now he's choosing Olga over Max as well. And like Max called him out. He's like, "You're pompous. You think you're an aristocrat, but I remember like where you were and how you started out."
That's so annoying, though. Honestly, like for
He's
someone
trying to bring him back down, but
I
you know
get
what?
it, but it's like, okay, if other people are more successful and they blossom into this new role, it's like it just feels like you're such a hater. Like, yeah.
Yes.
You know?
But we had 2 sides of this, and this is why I appreciate and respect this. We have Max, who's a somebody that will tell you how it is, and then we have the etiquette Apollinaire, and he'll say it in a very beautiful way, but kind of like sprinkle fairy dust on things.
Yeah.
So we had both of his friends. Well, Apollinaire couldn't approach him, but both of his friends telling him to remember who you are. Don't ever let that go. Max is upset about it, and it's affecting him in a certain way that he's drunk and he has these outbursts like that. Apollinaire's a little bit smarter of a man. He knows how to handle himself, I would say. He's grown up a bit, and obviously with war, definitely has made him a different man. But we had a very beautiful scene where what I think is the last time we get to see Apollinaire. I'm not sure if he had passed. We had an interesting jump cut of a cross in a cemetery, thinking that might have been
Apollinaire, but it was actually
in the
Francois'
future.
grandmother.
Right. Apollinaire does a nice throwback, asking him to remember the first night we all hung together and when we were, drinking absinthe. And he's like, "What are you doing now?" He's like, "I'm painting portraits." He goes, "That's not who I know who you are. Like, what did we always say? Like, break the molds, continue with that, never be satisfied." And then we had a beautiful note from Max. What do you think about that?
Yeah. You know, I was like, that's a really beautiful way to kind of not end the friendship, but kind of, you know, say that you are moving in a different direction and you really cherish this person and wish them the best.
I think it wasn't ending the friendship. I think he realized that Picasso did end the friendship, and he's like, this is going to allow our friendship to continue, but it's going to, like you said, go in a different pathway because he joined the church.
Like, there's no bitterness, there's no resentment. It's like, I'm going to do my thing, you have your life, and I really appreciate you coming into my life and making it beautiful. And, you know, I just thought it was so mature of Max to kind of do that and take, like, this high road and say, you know, I'm going to go to the monastery. I thought about what you said, and, yeah, I'm not living my life the way that I want to live my life.
Yeah. And I guess he just ended up the rest of his life in a church, which is kind of cool. I wish I didn't. I would like to do a little bit of research on what he became, because I know he was a poet, and I think he was somewhat influential with Apollinaire. But that's we're wrapping up a lot of the younger characters in this episode. I think this. Sorry about that, guys. Last week I know I mentioned that last week was the last week with Alex Rich, but I had my dates off and the episode's wrong. This is the week.
Yeah,
final week with Alex and Apollinaire and Max and all these younger versions of everybody. We're getting like a wrap up of everybody, and it's interesting. It's nice. I'm seeing young Picasso really, really turn into old Picasso. Like Alex went there with studying how much he is. I guess by 1918, I'm seeing so much more of like the older Picasso and young Picasso at this stage, and it's awesome how
he's becoming more unlikable.
He's becoming so unlikable. There's these brief moments,
cute
but
little Pablo Picasso that I just wanted to squeeze to death.
I know, right?
He's gone. Now I'm just like, ugh.
He's gone. We move into the old, bitter Picasso who's jealous and thinks he's this old guy. He's like, oh, nobody likes me. We had some interesting things happen. Start off in 1949, and it takes us all the way to 1952 with older Picasso. So let's get into that. What was your thoughts with Francois and Picasso?
I was just like,
and the life that
Francois,
they're living.
leave. Like, get out of there.
She needs to get a hint.
You do not need to put up with this bullshit any longer.
You really don't.
Leave.
I think she is, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get to see Olga, older, who is very bitter and very, just calling her a whore everywhere she goes. God. It was kind of a joke. I didn't recognize her at first when she was walking the baby. I thought it was a random old lady because remember how we had that scene similar to when Ferdinand and young Picasso were running through the streets of Spain, and the women were like, "Oh, you aren't married. Like that's a sin. That's a sin." And they're like spitting at them. I thought it was similar to like what that was. But nope. It was just Olga,
He's gonna take the stick and beat her with it. She looked vicious.
I thought she was gonna hit the kid with it, and I was just like, "What is this old woman doing? She's crazy."
Yeah.
Come to find out that Picasso's suggestion to get away is always go to the beach. So we go to that same beach, and of course Olga shows up again, just follows them. I'm like, "No way! How is she doing this?"
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. Guys, you should all check us out on iTunes. We would love for you to give us a great rating. Thumbs up, 5 stars. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Without you guys, we can't be doing this, and we love your support. So like, comments, the works, and enjoy watching and listening to us. Back to the beach.
Back to the beach.
Back to the beach. Picasso and Francois are kind of living an interesting life, and Francois had a great idea. Picasso's oldest and first son came to visit, and he seems to be a mess up. Paolo, beautiful name. Of course he's a mess up. Why wouldn't he be? The son of somebody famous who was never around. We find out that he was, I guess, arrested for being drunk, and he's seeking a job, and Francois had the great idea to bring the families together. And man, was that an awkward party.
Oh, God. It felt like Sister Wives or something.
It
was so uncomfortable.
There was so much bitterness and so much, like, naive and, like, I'm better than you because I was this part in his life, and, like, you'll never replace me, but, like,
I feel like that genuinely felt like Picasso's wet dream. Like, this is, like, his dream to just get everyone together. To feel like he is the... I know, it's weird because, like, in theory, like in past episodes, it's something he always alludes to. Like, oh, Marie Therese, my lover, my greatest love. Oh, so-and-so. Like, he always brings them up. So you would think that this would be, like, his ideal situation is to get everyone in one room. Nope. But, nope. It definitely created some tension and... And
heartbreak. Are you kidding me? His, like, little daughter comes up and she's like, I get why... Maya, she's like, I always thought you left because you were busy with work, and that's why this didn't work out. I never realized it was because you started new families. And that really shot one through the heart for me. That hurt a lot. That whole family is so broken and dysfunctional. I wonder where they are today.
Yeah.
How they are still. Can't imagine their lives being too easy. Too good of lives. But we get some more, things coming along with Francois and Pablo. And Pablo's feeling his age, I think. And he's starting to get insecure and feeling as if, like, you're not interested in me anymore. Would you be interested in an old man like that? Francois had 2 kids with him. To be fair,
when I was a kid, I had a crush on Sean Connery. And not, like, hot James Bond Sean Connery, but, like, older.
Old man Sean Connery.
Connery. So, I don't know.
Look, there's 2 Sean Connerys, and both of them are very, I would see why you have a crush on both. Or on the older. I would have a crush on both. Yeah.
But no, I don't think I would have had a crush on Picasso specifically. Maybe if it was, like, I don't know.
I think Francois is kind of feeling the bitterness. There's a lot of bitter in this episode. It's all bitter. She, like, has the kids, and she's like, I don't paint anymore. And we got a nice little homage to her grandmother, I guess, a painting of her with Picasso's son, Paolo. He's like, oh, I don't remember my dad doing this. And she's like, yeah, that was mine, actually. And like, he's giving her compliments of how good of an artist she really is as well, which is nice. What else had happened? We had Marcel crash the beloved, that beautiful car, the blue car that I love.
Would you fire someone that was with you for 25 years?
No, I can't believe he did that. But, it's so...
You can never repay... Like, you can never buy my trust back.
Yeah, like, it's so true of who Picasso is. And I think he died alone. as an old lonely man, and we had his what he thought was family, or Marcel thought was family to him, tell him like, this is who you really are, and like I know who you are. I never told you, but like now I am, because I was like I was the one person that would never deceive you, and I mean he kind of did by taking the car out with his family and crashing it. And he fired him. That was kind of not a cool thing to do.
Never cross a Scorpio.
Was he? Picasso?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they get bitter. But he employed his son to drive for him. How'd you feel about that? Try to make up for lost time?
It just felt opportunistic. Like, okay, you love me, son? You miss me? You want my attention? Okay, I'll give you a job to do.
Yeah.
It came from a place of like...
He needed something.
Yeah, and I don't like that. It's like there's something about the way old Picasso is being portrayed in this series where it's like everything is on his terms. When he,
I feel like that's who he really was.
Yeah, like when he wants affection, he gets affection. What about when I want affection? What about when like, why it's not reciprocated unless he feels like he's going to lose that person. So there's no equality.
You know what it is? Somehow I've skipped over it because it was one of my favorite scenes. He has this... He thinks he's the sun and everybody revolves around him. He still has this idea that he's the most influential person in the world. Where
I wonder where he got that from. Because he was literally told in this episode, as young Picasso, whoever your wife is should drop everything and should make you your first priority. I'm like, I wonder where he got this idea that the world revolves around him. From her. Okay.
No, so I don't think he got... I don't think... I see where you're coming from.
You don't think
I disagree.
That's part of it?
I don't... It may be slightly part of it. I think because of what his art is the reason why he thinks the world revolves around him. I don't think it was because of what his mother said.
Because the praise and the validation he gets because he's famous and everyone... Like, Picasso is a household name. Like, everybody knows who Picasso is. So even when he tells Francois later on in the episode, you're going to leave Picasso? Like, what will people think if you left Picasso? Nobody leaves Picasso.
Nobody leaves Picasso. Like, what is that? I don't know. We had a great scene between Matisse and him. Mm-hmm. And I loved it because it was like they're the old geezers now.
Are you talking about in this episode?
In this episode, okay. Yeah. Matisse and him are sitting down and they're talking about Jackson Pollock, and they're like, I don't get it. It's just paint splattered onto something. Mm-hmm. And Matisse was like, but then again, do you think Monet was looking at us like saying like, oh, they'll never outrival us? Like we're still the famous people of the time. It was great retrospect to see them on the other end of it, and Picasso was still holding on to like this 20-year-old boy of like, no. I'm still the most important thing in this world. Like, this Jackson Pollock is following me. Like, and Matisse was like, don't you think Monet thought the same thing? Like, you were following him? That we were following him? It was a very beautiful scene, and it should have awoken something in Picasso, into his, like, later years of life of, like, it's time to let the younger generations take over. But he's, like, holding on so tightly not to... let go of these reins. Yeah. It's interesting. Give me some more thoughts. What else do you think, like, for the episode? How else did you feel? We had a few other things that happened between Picasso. He has a new young lover, yet again.
Yeah, nice he had, what was her name?
I didn't even catch her name.
Oh, Genevieve Laporte. She was the one who poses nude and shows up, and like that scene, it just upset me. I have no words for it. It bothers me because... Like, I think it would have bothered me less if this was something that was going on with young Picasso. I know that sounds weird, but it bothers me more because you're an old man. You have an established life that you've already built with Francois. Like, you've done this so many times.
He's done this many times.
Why would you do this again when you have a great person who is by your side and supporting you and is your rock? Why would you do this to her? Not only that, why would you lie about it and... not at least be upfront, at least own it if you're like that. Yeah, it's not like she's not going to find out. It's not like she's not smart enough to know what's going on behind closed doors. Yeah, like she was in the position on the other end of it years ago with, what's her face? Donna. I'm bad with names. You know what I'm talking about though, right? The black-haired girl. Yeah. Dora. I knew it was the D. I knew it was the D.
Yeah, I mean, Picasso's just messing around, screwing things up, screwing up his life. We got a lot of the same stuff in this episode from prior episodes of just fooling around with more girls.
What do you think this comes from? Like, does it stem from any sort of, like, insecurity?
Yes.
Just because he's an old man?
I think so. I think it stems from doing stuff at a young age, at a whorehouse. Mm-hmm. That definitely gives you a wrong idea of women. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, 14 years old, paid for sex, and it's just like, oh, well, I could always get sex some way. He didn't ever have to work for it. I don't know, it stems from something, and probably just the times as well, you know, with women's rights and all that other stuff. And I don't know, Picasso, he's got a huge ego. So let's wrap this up a little bit, get into quick predictions, and we have 2 more episodes left, guys.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Someone's gonna have a seizure one of these days.
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah, like I was saying, we are done with young Picasso.
Yeah, I'm grieving the loss of young Picasso now as we speak.
I know, no more Alex.
I'm glad we kind of ended with young Picasso on a somewhat sour note. Like, somewhat, like, we see how he's transitioning into older Picasso. Now I don't have to, like, be as sad.
Yeah.
And we don't have to see him.
Because it's just like, you know, I don't really like what you're doing, so you can go off now.
I do want to shout out Alex Rich, though, because he's done a phenomenal job. Like, I can't even state that enough. Like, I love watching him. Seeing him in person versus on screen, like, it's 2 different personas. Like, he's so sweet. And, like, in person and on screen, it's like he just gets into young Picasso.
Yeah, well, he's a good
really
actor.
channels that persona. But yeah, I think, you know, obviously the relationship between Francois and older Picasso is going to fall apart.
Of course, she'll finally leave him.
Yeah, that's going to happen. I don't know what we're going to see in terms of painting. Like, that's what I'm curious about.
I know, we've really gotten away from painting. Like, there was very few paintings this episode, which I always loved about this because they would always show something. And I don't know, hopefully we'll get to see a little bit, maybe a new style. I think we get into the blue period, or...
We've done the blue period
We did the blue period. Maybe
I don't even know what
There's
period.
one more period that he gets into before he dies. I can't remember what it was called, but maybe we'll get into that. We'll get to see some of that. And... unfortunately, this is what happens in these shows towards the end. We're going to get to start to see a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to start dying. Some of his lovers are going to start dying.
I feel like Fernand is going to... Like, I want to see... Like, that's what I really want to see. I don't want to see her die, but I want to see if there's, like, any sort of last words between him and Fernand, or if there's any sort of flashback. I hope there's some last
words between him and Dora and a lot of, like, everybody, honestly.
Yeah. I want a happy ending. I don't want, like, a realistic...
It's already written in the books and history books, so I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, man, what do I think is going to happen here? Something's going to happen between him and his son.
We're going to see something with Marie-Therese, I think, as well. Remember, like, they were kind of teasing the relationship between him and Marie-Therese?
No.
The blonde lady? No?
Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we'll have to wait until next week. Guys, my name is Zach Silverman. You can catch me all across social media. Zach with a CH Silverman2. Mina, where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mina Makes Magic, and also tune in next week, Monday, to the premiere of The Proposal that comes on right after The Bachelorette. We're doing the after show for that here at AfterBuzz TV.
Very cool. All right, guys, until next time.
See ya.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.